Hi there, Lori Ballen here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My team serves Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas, and I'm up here on the west side in a community called Summerlin. So this week, I am going to be doing a series of short bite-sized videos about the elements inside opportunities. So up until now, I have really focused on lead generation strategies, using the database, building your smart plans, your website, and now I'm getting into opportunities. So many of you have already learned that part, which is great. For those of you that haven't, this week is going to be for you, and I'll be adding all of these to our lesson plans. So as you can see here, I am looking at opportunities. And with opportunities, we're able to manage our transactions. Within the transactions, we can see our potential income. We're able to see how many buyers are in our pipeline, leases, etc., etc. Now, I'm not going to go into all of these details on this video. Today, we're going to stick with the basics of how to create an opportunity inside KW Command. So I want to let you know that when you're creating an opportunity, you're basically creating a buyer, a listing, a lease, and there's one more, and we'll see it in a minute. And so it's going to be creating those types of transactions. So you're at the phase where you're either setting an appointment with them, or you're actively working with them, they're under contract, or they're closed. These are your phases in the pipeline, okay? So first thing you need to know is that your contacts should first be inside KW Command. So if you have a buyer or a listing or a lease that you're putting in here, you're going to want to make sure you enter the contact first. In addition, if there is a co-contact, you're going to want to make sure they are in here as well. So you'll notice when you enter a contact, you can edit this and you can actually create a relationship. So when you first start working with this person, you can say, they're a potential buyer or they're a potential listing. You can put all this information about them, and you can also include a relationship. So their spouse, father, mother, son. Well, this person needs to be entered in KW Command so that when you enter your opportunity, you can also link in that co-person. Now, not all relationships would be part of the contract, right? I might just have in here that this is the parent of Jane Smith, my other past buyer, and I just want to note that connection, but they wouldn't necessarily be on a contract together, okay? So these are for relationships with the contacts. And then you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that your co-contact, whoever that is also entered in first, okay? So enter them in Command first. Next, on the left-hand side, we're going to go down here and we're going to click on these little shaking hands. This is opportunities. So we'll click on opportunities, and then you're going to find this button here that says create opportunity, and click that. All right, I'm going to go through these fields super quickly, and then at the end, we'll be done with this video, okay? And you'll see why this is going to be a series, because we're going to have little tiny elements all along the way. So first we have Market Center. This should be defaulting for you already. That is required. Anywhere you see the little red asterisks, these are required fields. So that should be populating. Next, you're going to choose your team. So if you're on a team, you'll see that option here, or if you have a team. Next, you'll choose your opportunity type. So we have listing, buyer, landlord, tenant. That's what I was looking at. So it's buyer, listing, lease. And on the lease side, it's either going to be you're representing the tenant that is leasing the property, or you're representing the landlord who's listing the property. Okay, so you're going to choose one of those, and it will change a couple little things here, but most of this is pretty similar. So now you're going to select the owner. Now you should already be selected as the owner. And what's important to note is that during a transaction, you can actually assign other people on your team, such as an admin or another agent, somebody on the team that's going to also have access to DocuSign rooms. they're working on the file for some reason, but this owner never changes. Okay, so we're going to have that owner be the same. And then client, so here you're going to go to choose your client. So if I wanted this to be for Tinkerbell, I start typing it in and it will populate that person. This is why we need to enter the contact first. So we're going to create Tinkerbell. I'm surprised there's not an option there for us to add a new client just in case, but I didn't see one. I don't see one as of today, so make sure you enter them first. Next, the co-buyers. Let's say Tinkerbell is buying this house with Jeff. We'll put that in there, okay? Now, this is what's going to allow these contracts to now be signable by both parties, so you'll want to make sure that you have that if there is one. Now is your opportunity name. Now, by default, you'll notice that it automatically populated the person's name and then the type that she is. She is a buyer. You can edit this if you want to, and if this was a listing, you might put 123 Main Street, Mike Smith listing. You know, however it is that you want to do. You might be titling yours all by address, but if you're titling them, maybe your listings are by address, but your buyers are by name, because when you're putting your buyer in here for an opportunity, they may have several opportunities because they may make an offer on one house they don't get and different things like that. So you don't know necessarily the address for sure at this point. So your buyer might be by their name, Tinkerbell, and she is a buyer, where your address, your listings might be by address. All right, you're going to be able to, I'll show you in another video how we're going to manage our transactions. You'll be able to see what you can modify. So custom tags. Now here's custom tags that are in here for an example. We have rental, we have a new build, we have seller, we have buyer. These custom tags are not the same tags that you would be assigning to a contact. Now, assume when you're creating contacts, when you're creating custom tags, assume that tag might fire some sort of action. It might trigger some sort of an action. So a contact tag might trigger a smart plan. A custom tag for transaction might trigger some other sort of checklist or something. Now, I'm not saying that's already happening, but that's one way that I always teach people how to use tags. Tags identify an audience, they identify a phase, a stage, something like that. In this particular case, these are opportunity tags, and these are customizable, okay? So I'm going to show you in another video how to customize, how to create custom tags for this section. It's in the same place where we go to add custom tags in our settings for our contacts, but there's a button instead that says opportunities. So these are not required, but if you have something here that you would like to use, go for it. And you can use more than one. Next, you're going to choose the estimated close date. So maybe this opportunity is you're just having the first appointment, and you're in the buyer consultation phase, and they've said that they probably want to purchase by the end of September. You just navigate through this calendar and click on the estimated close date. You can change this later. Time frame will also indicate how long before this person potentially makes a transaction. Okay, so you can put something in there as well. What is their budget? Now you'll notice if this was a listing instead of a buyer, that would be the list price. So you will see some differences. Your commission rate. Now these numbers are used to configure your sales pipeline reports. So when you want to go look at your pipeline to see what you potentially have in your buyer pipeline, it's going to calculate this $350,000 estimated buy price times your estimated commission, and it's going to put those in your potential GCI income. Okay, so that's important to note. And then opportunity phase, also customizable. So right now I'm cultivating this buyer. So for example, let's just say I get a lead that comes in through KW Command and it's a web lead. and I'm chasing them, they're not in opportunities yet at all. Okay. Now, let's say I talk to Tinkerbell and Tinkerbell says, yes, I'm looking to buy. Maybe she's a referral, for example. So Tinkerbell's a referral and she wants to buy in the next 90 days. Well, I might go ahead and create an opportunity for Tinkerbell then. So it's somebody that I can manage and monitor. And I believe she's going to purchase something. I might have her in the cultivate phase. And then once we get to a point where we're doing a consultation of any kind, virtual or in person, then I'm going to change her to an appointment. And you'll see all of this change in your pipelines, which we'll cover in another video. And then maybe you want to say active. So you've already been on your first appointment with Tinkerbell. You've been out looking at houses, and now she didn't like anything. So you're going to be creating more home tours. Then she would be in the active opportunity phase. And then once we get her into, there's also a closed and there's one other one. I'd have to go look now. So there's other opportunity phases as well. And then we have opportunity stage. So if they're in the opportunity phase, you'll notice the opportunity stage complements the phase. So they're in the appointment stage. Are you scheduling the appointment? Did they keep the appointment? So this works very similarly to any other sales pipeline where you have lost opportunities and you have set appointments where they didn't show up. These can all become part of conversion metrics and better improve the pipeline. And with Keller Williams adding AI, obviously all of this data is going to eventually help with tips during the transaction that they'll be giving us once they have the data. Okay. So if they're in the active phase, are they searching? Are they closed? Are they negotiations? Legacy would mean history. It's, cultivate phase, we have watch, nurture, hot. So these two work together. You'll notice these change when you change that tab there. Okay. And then finally, your assignee is anybody that you are giving permission to work this file. According to the notes, this also means that they are added to the DocuSign room if you're using DocuSign. This will probably be most often used with an admin and an agent, or potentially a husband-wife team, something along those lines where they're working those transactions together. Okay. So the owner never changes. I'm still the owner, but if I wanted to add Jeff in here to the transaction for whatever reason, Jeff's working it with me. We're partners on this. I'm adding Jeff. Then Jeff will be able to see everything that happened in this transaction, including the DocuSign room. And then I'm going to click create. I'm going to get rid of that for now. We would click create, and then we would be able to see our opportunity. Okay, there's the opportunity. This is what it looks like after the fact. And then to edit it, we can click these little pencils. Once we have a property, we have a description, we have general information, and I'm going to cover more of that in another video. But that's how easy it is to create an opportunity inside KW Command.